Today we're going to revisit the Marshall TSL100. I had plenty of complaints on my last review for this amp. A lot of them revolved around the fact that maybe the sounds I pulled didn't sound as good as your personal amps, and also the fact that I used an Axe effects for some outboard stuff. Now, I don't want to get into a whole debate about that kind of stuff and what's transparent and what doesn't color the sound. So this time I'm going to plug my Les Paul straight into this guy. Let's hear the three basic flavors with all the knobs on noon. We'll go clean, crunch, and lead. Alright, let's talk about this clean channel. To me, at those settings, it's a little bit dull sounding, a little bit too woofy. So I turn the bass down and the mid-range down, and I would boost a little bit of treble, and also pull the gain up just a hair above noon. And if I want a bit more punch, I would add the mid-boost feature. At the moment, it's really clean. It'd be a good pedal platform. But boosting the mids, to me, just kind of warms it up a little bit and makes it a little bit vibier for the edge of breakup stuff. Now we're on the crunch channel with the gain down a bit, and my reference point for Marshalls is always, can it do a good AC/DC style tone with pretty much everything at noon and the gain turned down? One thing to me that this amp really needs is the mids push, so I will go ahead and do that and turn the mids to about 3 o'clock. Like I said in my last video, I don't like it as much as my DSL, but if you like that kind of sound, roll with it. For more of a plexi kind of thing, probably bring the bass down and boost the treble and the presence a little bit. That's nice for a lower gain thing. If I bring the gain up above noon, so let's move on to the lead channel. I'll keep the gain down to about 9 o'clock. I actually really like that out of all the sounds I've heard so far. That's probably the one. It does have a tone shift control which just eats up the mids. It does this. I much prefer it with the tone shift not engaged. And for this, if I want a really smooth kind of lead sound, I just pull a bit of treble out and boost the mid-range and the gain. If I wanted more of like a kind of thrashy kind of thing, I would definitely just pull some mid-range out, boost the bass and the treble. I'll leave the gain where it is. Personally though, I think that could do with a boost, so what I'll do is plug a Boss SD1 in to kick it over the edge. it definitely benefits from a boost for that kind of thing. If we go back to the crunch channel, one thing that I did mention was that it sounds like it gets saturated really quickly. So what I'll do is I will keep the gain low on the crunch channel, and then I'll kick the SD1 in on top of it. This is probably the way I would actually use this amp if I had to do a gig with it. So there's a few basic tones. Hopefully that makes some of you guys out there happy. With a lot of these videos though, it's mostly about trying to make myself happy and listening to some of those tones recorded back. I like that particular amp with that particular guitar a lot more than the last time. I think this whole era of amplifiers is coming from the mindset of like, we'll give you an amp that can do anything so you don't need to use pedals, whereas nowadays we live in a world where a lot of people basically either want one good sound or two good sounds that they can slam a bunch of pedals or effects before and after to sort of build the sound that they have in their head. I think the TSL gain control is a little bit limited, but I have the feeling that if I swapped out a 12AX7 for a 12AU7 in one of the slots, that it would clean that up a little bit and give me a little bit more headroom in there. The clean sound for a Marshall is not too bad either. It's got a very kind of Fender-y vibe about it, and I think it would work stacking gain pedals into it, which is a little bit weird for like a triple channel amp. If you were going to use it solely as a pedal platform, it's kind of missing the point there. So in comparison to something like a DSL or a Vintage Modern, for what I like to do, which again is the one or two sound thing, add a couple of drive pedals and maybe a delay. The TSL is probably overkill. It's probably trying to do too much for what I like. But if you're someone who just wants to plug into the front of the amp and you want essentially an infinite amount of gain and lots of that sort of liquidy lead gain, it's probably a better amp for that. So take what you will from this review. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. And thanks to everybody who weighed in last time, because it made me want to revisit this amp and dial in some new sounds. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.